What if the photos on your phone are quietly teaching Google's AI how to think? Not the ones you upload, the ones sitting in your messages, your recordings, your files. A recent change to Google's privacy settings flipped that switch for millions of people, and almost nobody got told. Here's the part that should bother you most. This is happening now because Google is in a knife fight with OpenAI, and the fuel for that fight is your data. The players are simple. Google on one side, you on the other. According to TechCrunch AI, a recent change to Google's privacy settings now lets the company store far more of your personal media to train its models. But here is where it gets interesting. This next part changes the whole picture because the wording of that change matters more than the change itself. So let's get concrete about what actually shifted. The setting in question governs what Google keeps from your interactions across its apps. And the new language explicitly includes media, images, files, audio, and video recordings. That is not your search history. That is content. What this means for you is direct. When you use Google's Assistant, when you share a file, when you let it transcribe something, that material can now be stored and fed into model training. Most people never saw a pop-up explaining this in plain terms. It arrived as a quiet update buried inside privacy controls that almost no one opens on purpose. And that is the first thing worth understanding clearly. The default is on. Companies know that defaults win because the overwhelming majority of users never change a setting from whatever it shipped as. So when a default quietly expands what gets collected, that is a decision made for you, not by you. A like on this does more than you think to get it seen, and this is exactly the kind of story that gets buried if it doesn't travel. There's a twist here almost no one is talking about. Here is the angle the headline skipped. The debate keeps framing this as a privacy problem. It's bigger than that. It's a consent problem dressed up as a settings toggle. When a company changes what a setting means after you already agreed to it, your original consent no longer describes reality. You said yes to one thing. The definition underneath it moved. The villain here isn't a cartoon, it's an incentive structure. Google needs enormous volumes of real, messy human data to keep Gemini competitive with OpenAI and Anthropic. Synthetic data only goes so far. Real audio, real images, real documents from real people are the most valuable training material on Earth right now. You are the resource. And the people caught in the middle are ordinary users who trusted that a privacy setting would stay, meaning what it meant when they first clicked, accept. Think about what that means for you personally. Every voice note, every scanned document, every screenshot could become a data point that sharpens a model you don't own and can't audit. The most important part is the one I saved for last. So here is how you actually take back control, and here is the twist that reframes everything. The opt-out exists. Go into your Google account, open the data and privacy section, and look for the activity and personalization controls, specifically the settings governing Gemini apps activity and web and app activity. Turn off the toggle that allows your interactions to be used, and where it's offered, delete the stored history. That's the mechanical fix. But the deeper insight is this. The opt-out is the tell. Companies only build a clean, findable off switch when they expect regulators or backlash to come knocking. The existence of the toggle proves they know exactly what they're doing is contentious. Here is exactly what happens next. Expect this pattern to repeat across every major AI company through the next year. Quiet default expansions, followed by buried opt-outs, followed by a PSA like this one. The settings page is the new battlefield, and the people who read the fine print will be the only ones who kept their data. Before I go, here is your tech tip of the day. If you want to know what a company is really collecting, stop reading the privacy policy and start reading the network traffic. Open Chrome DevTools with F12, go to the Network tab, filter by Fetch and XHR, and use an app or site normally for a minute. You'll see every request it fires in real time, including the payloads it sends back to base. Click any request and check the payload and response tabs to see the actual data leaving your machine. This is how researchers catch apps quietly shipping data they never disclosed. It takes 5 minutes and it turns vague suspicion into hard evidence you can screenshot. That is your tip for today. If you just realized your files might already be training Gemini, go flip that toggle before you close this tab. Then tell one person who'd never find it themselves. Subscribe to FutureEdge, and I'll see you tomorrow with the next one.